Have you ever been super frustrated by the to-do list that has you absolutely drowning and you don't have any new clients as a coach? In this episode, I'm going to be walking you through some of the biggest myths that a lot of new coaches repeat and share with their friends and everything that keep coaches the most stuck when they are looking for their first six figures as a coach. Now, quick disclaimer, I am sharing my expertise. I'm sharing my perspective. I'm giving generalized education, generalized knowledge. I have no idea what you're going to do with it. I have no idea who you are. You could be a vampire. You could be an AI bot. I don't know. But what I do know is that business entails risk. Business is not the same for anybody who practices it. And I can't guarantee you any kind of results or like no results at all. I cannot guarantee that. But what I can guarantee is that if you don't learn what matters and do what matters, then you will not have the opportunity that you are looking for, which is why I do this content, because I'm giving you the education that I missed. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm by far not a perfect person. So I am sharing from my perspective though, so take it for what it is, but you are responsible for the results in your business. Most coaches are spinning their tires, spending a lot of money, a lot of time every single week, a lot of tears and energy and frustration in trying to get clients. I recently joined a Facebook group that was called something like I need a life coach, and I was just curious to see what I would find in there. And of course, it was just full of these well-meaning coaches wanting to find a client. They're hoping that somebody's just going to stumble into that group. And when I tell you it was 99% coaches inside that group, not people looking for a coach, but coaches looking for a client. And I've been helping coaches to launch and grow their businesses for a very long time now, almost a decade. And I keep seeing the same mistakes over and over and over again. And if you're making one of these mistakes, I want to stop you from doing it, because you don't need to sign up for another fancy pants mastermind. You don't need to spend more of your weekends and certainly no more of your tears until you understand what is really important to the first year of your business, and especially getting your first 5 or next 5 or first even dozen or so clients. So let's unpack it. Here's what you think you need when it comes to getting coaching clients versus what actually works. So when I'm working with people, these are the big ones. The first thing is everybody thinks they need to have like a really impressive brand. You know, they see what people are doing and they see the external, the first, the cover of the book, so to speak. And they think, well, then they must be successful. So first of all, they might not be successful. Second of all, what you actually need to start a brand is you need clear values. So when I was starting the Coaches Plaza and I was actually getting out there for myself, I was really clear what I wasn't about. I am like the opposite of a lot of the things that I saw in the marketplace. So, for example, I'm not going to pose on top of a Lamborghini because that's not me. That's not who I am. I'm not going to change my physiology just to make money. Right? If I'm doing that, I'm doing it because I want to be healthy. I want to have energy. If I am making changes in my health and my physiology, I am not doing it at the altar of a dollar. Like that is not something that actually motivates me. So I'm very much against that. Sometimes it's just even your being ends up being an expression of some of your values, right? So like I'm a woman and I'm a mother. So I talk about the balance that has to take place when you're building a business, because that's very clearly who I am. So before I ever posted one single piece of content, I was super clear on what my values were. So because of that, I was able to start to build a brand. And you may argue whether it's impressive or not. I've been able to get on some really impressive stages of other brands because of the brand that I created, but it all started with a clarity about what are my actual values. So then that's what I end up talking about. That's what I end up focusing on. That's what I end up doing with a lot of repetition. And lo and behold, someday you'll wind up with a little brand. And that's pretty cool. But you don't need it as a prerequisite. That's not how brand building works. Brands are built over time with repetitious effort. And it's really about building associations. So start with, what do you value in the world, and what do you value in your lifestyle? What do you value in what you're creating? And just let yourself figure it out from there. So that's a good starting point. The second thing that everybody tells me that they need to have first is they say, well, I need to have confidence. And it's so interesting to me because when I first started this business, I was the opposite of confident. I was so insecure about everything. And I was also really anxious about everything. My vigilance was like at an all-time high when I started this business. And what helped me build confidence was actually doing the thing. It was doing the thing and surviving, doing the thing for a while and surviving, and learning how to thrive in that space. Confidence, I think of it more in mathematical terms. Confidence is how confident am I that this statistical outcome is going to repeat? So I'm going to say that again. How likely is it that this statistical outcome is going to repeat? So I am confident that in August in Texas, it's going to be over 100 degrees. Why? Because I have lived here for over 15 years, and every single August, there's definitely over 100-degree Fahrenheit days. And so I'm very confident that that's going to happen again next August, right? And why? Because I have experience with it, right? Because I there's a lot of historical data that supports that next August is probably, I have a pretty high level of confidence, is probably going to be over 100 degrees for at least a few days in August in Texas, where I live. So confidence is not a feeling, okay? Confidence is a conviction that you have that it's probably going to work out the way that you predict. I have a confidence that when I send an email out to my list, there's a percentage of my list that's going to open it. There's a percentage of my list that's going to click on it. Why? Because I've sent thousands and thousands of emails. Same thing when I post something on social media. I have a confidence that I'm going to get a certain number of views or a certain number of interactions or a certain reaction when I go and do the thing. Not because I'm psychic, not because I have like this conceited arrogance thing going on, but just because I've done it a lot. So, a lot of people think that they need to have confidence. What you really actually need is you need courage, right? It's the courage to start small. It's the courage to have a new experience. It's the courage to look at the data and see what actually happened. It's courage that helps build your confidence. Especially when you're doing something new, you're building something new. Instead of like wishing you had more confidence, you can activate and cultivate courage right now to do the thing. All right. So next thing everybody thinks they need to have is a huge following. They think they need to be famous, they need to have celebrity, they need to be known. And here's what I'll tell you about that 15 minutes of fame. It lasts for about exactly 15 minutes. I've been mentored by a lot of really impressive people in social media and in marketing and everything. And 3 weeks, man. In 3 weeks, you could have a completely different messaging and earning new followers and like doing something completely new. Your relevance fades far faster than you might think. So to build this following, I think the fallacy in the thinking is that you think that you're going to get all this loyalty from somebody just because they followed you. But we have to remember how easy it is to hit subscribe and how easy it is to follow and how easy it is to opt in. It's like easily won, easily lost, You don't need a huge following as a prerequisite to building a six-figure coaching business, because you don't need a huge following to enroll in a six-figure coaching business. What you need is a few people who are really dedicated to transformation, and you really need a willingness to say hello. So many coaches, their insecurities are being exploited every day by marketers. And yes, I know I'm marketing right now, but I'm doing it through education because, oh my God, I have been there. I have been in the shoes of somebody who believed that I had to have this system first, and I had to have that skill first, and I had to have that, like all these milestones that were prerequisites to the part where I actually helped another human being. And it is baloney. And the best entrepreneurs out there, if I ask them like, hey, do you need to have all that fancy pants stuff before you earn the right to help another person? They would tell you no. they would tell you that's preposterous. They would tell you that that's ridiculous. They would tell you that you can grow your business and add the fancy features as you go, but you first have to have that willingness to put yourself out there as being available to support and to help people in your zone of genius. All right, next one. People think that in order to be successful at a six-figure level as a coach, that you've got to have fancy premium clients, that you've got to have people that are paying you a lot, or that they themselves have a huge amount of status for you to earn the right to coach somebody else at a premium level. And what you actually need is you really need somebody you need your first fans. You need your first people who are just like, yes, I'm going to give that a crack. I'm going to give that a go. I'm going to check that out. And I would say, like, get their testimony as well. Like if you can get their testimony that it was like a great experience, or if it needs work before you go and bring it out to the big wide world, that's okay too, right? You're just going to get better when you have that feedback. So instead of looking to have like all the fancy clients paying you lots of, simoleons immediately, first prove your process. First, prove your process and prove that it is genuinely helpful enough that somebody would say, this was genuinely helpful. And when you have that testimonial and that feedback, not only can you know what to continue to do well and better, but you're also going to be able to ideally share that testimonial with other people who are like, okay, I believe you. I think you're actually good at what you do because other people have said that you are good at what you do. I'm not just taking your word for it. So super, super important. And whenever I do something new, this is exactly what I'm after. I might charge something, but it's really not as much as what the final product is intended to become. And I stand by this big time. Oh, Lordy. It feels almost illegal to put this on the internet in 2025, but if you're looking to build like a six-figure coaching business and you just want to coach people, you think you've got to have a virtual assistant with your AI automated driven business. And look, I'm here to tell you firsthand, AI is great. I love AI. I use AI all the time, like so many of my clients do. And it's so funny because it's even coming up like live in coaching calls. My clients will, pre-think through their questions and like pull together a summary document for me to react to and respond to as their mentor and their coach, which I think is like a hoot. But at the root, you don't need all that just yet. What you need is a calendar that you can commit to and that you can put appointments on. It could even be paper. I know it sounds crazy, but you really could do it that way. You need email and you need a phone. Now, if you're going to be meeting with people who are not, they don't know you, they don't have any affiliation with you, they don't know you through a friend or something like that, you might want to go ahead and kick the $12 a year for a branded domain for your email. And I'm a big fan of Google Workspace, not an ad, just telling you I love it. It works really, really well. I would customize those things rather than using a free Gmail account, just because it really does project that you are a real and legitimate business. But apart from that, I would say like keep it as simple as possible and only add the complexity once complexity is warranted, right? And so when would it be warranted? Well, when you have too many relationships that you're juggling all at once and you don't want to start letting people down, you don't want to start forgetting commitments and things like that, then we add automation, right? To make things a lot easier. A lot of people think in order to build a six-figure coaching business that they have to have all these credentials or endorsements by fancy people and fancy brands and things like that. And look, it helps. When I did some work for mastermind.com, for sure, it helped my credibility because I did work for a significant brand in our space. I still had to show up and do the work in my business and I still had to connect. So here's the thing that actually really helps is if you have a well-researched plan for how you're going to help a person go from A to B, okay, from their current state to their desired future state. You have a well-researched plan. Those endorsements, those credentials, those other things, they definitely give lift. But if you don't have a plan in the beginning, in the first place, it's not going to lift you very far. All right. So the other thing is that if you get really good at solving problems for other people and you earn a reputation for doing so in your space, guess what? you're going to get tapped on the shoulder for those opportunities, which is exactly what happened with mastermind.com. They tapped me on the shoulder. They said, hey, can you help me with this thing? So I did. We had a great time. It was awesome. Okay. Another thing that a lot of coaches think that they need to have before they can get to six-figure levels is they think they've got to have a bunch of magic words. Like you've got to say the magic words, the magic thing in the DM or the magic thing in a sales call or a consult to be able to earn the client or get the client. And I'm here to tell you, after studying sales and psychology and sociology and all the ologies to be even better as a high-performance coach, that's all you need. Clarity in your conversations and your connections. So instead of looking for magic words, it really comes down to, are you having a real and vulnerable conversation with people that is focused on their transformation, focused on clearing their obstacles? Are you doing that? Because if you're doing that, you're going to have plenty of opportunity to work with people in a deeper way as a coach. Another thing that coaches think that they need is they think I need a better network. I know I was in this boat as well. I came out of a pretty insular corporate kind of an environment where people didn't really go outside of the company very much to make new connections. And add to that, I was doing a ton of travel with my job. So it was kind of tough to make local connections with the limited time that I had at home. So I really believed I need a better network. And to the point where I only felt like I had 8 names on a Post-it that fit onto a Post-it of people that were my true champions. And honestly, that was probably true. That was kind of not my super inner circle, but the next layer out was about 8 people, which is normal. You don't need a better network, right? What you need is better networking skills, right? So when we say I need a better network, we're basically blaming all the people that we've met along the way for you are who you are and you're no good for my business. So that sucks. But when I say you need better networking skills, it's okay, how are you treating the people you're already in network with? So that's question number 1. Are you ignoring them? Are you not connecting with them because of some reason, right? And sometimes that's legit, right? You got to have boundaries with people that have, behaviors that are not good for either of you. But I mean, by and large, do you treat your existing network well? If you don't treat your existing network well, then you need to fix that, right? Because why would anybody want to add themselves to your network if you don't do a good job of taking care of the people that already know you, right? So that's the first thing. The second big thing with the networking skill is, are you putting yourself into new environments? Could be rooms, could be events, could be networking groups, could be volunteering is a really good one. Are you putting yourself in the way of meeting new people, or are you staying at home watching a screen and hoping that your life is going to get better? Okay, keep watching, because this is actually super, super important. Your networking skills are actually more of a factor of whether you're going to be successful as a coach. Are you putting yourself in the way of meeting new people? And the third big thing in networking skills is, are you asking people that you meet for their support? Now, there's different kinds of asks that you can have. It's when I first had my 8 names on a Post-it, the main ask was can I do coaching for you so that you experience it? Because I want to build a business around this. And then we did it and it was awesome. And then I had another ask and I said, hey, do you know someone who would really benefit from knowing somebody like me? And they were actually, yeah. And then they gave me referrals to my next people that I coached and so on. So are you using the third big skill here, just to summarize, are you using your network to expand your network in the direction that you'd like it to grow? Because if you're doing that, then you're going to have plenty of opportunity to fuel a 6-figure coaching business. All right. So don't blame the network, blame your skills, and you can work on your skills. Here's the real truth, is that the coaching industry gets the richest off of our insecurities. That's just what it is. So if you want to stay stuck as a coach, then keep obsessing about how you are not good enough and you're not smart enough and you can't figure it out, because that's exactly what we need as marketers to get you into that pain of the motivation to buy something, to solve it, right? I had to really learn, and I sometimes still have to remind myself that I'm good enough. I'm good enough to shoot this video. I'm good enough to send the email. I'm good enough to step up onto a stage. I'm good enough to learn new skills. I'm definitely good enough to coach you. But I have to remind myself all the time. And I think that that's a really normal thing that I see a lot of coaches go through is that they have to remind themselves that they are already good enough where they stand to do what they need to do with what they have, and you can grow from wherever you stand. So I just told my clients in the First Five Club, which is my community where I help people with getting their first or next 5 clients. You can DM me 5 clients if you want information about, or club would be better. You can DM me the word club if you are curious about the First Five Club and you'd like to come and join us in there. But what I reminded them was, you can go right now, like just go, and you can grow as you go, right? So many coaches are in this preparatory energy. They're just preparing and fixing to and getting ready. And it's like, when are you going to pull the trigger, right? You're the only one that can decide that. So you can grow, you can keep growing, you can keep learning, you can keep, developing, because you will have to. And I'm still on a growth journey. Oh my God, I am. But you don't have to use that as a reason to stop. The key thing here, especially if you're a coach, is you've got to trust yourself so that others can actually trust you. And trust happens because you keep making deposits into your well of certainty that you are going to keep your promises to yourself. If you can do that, if you can keep promises to yourself, like I promised myself I was going to do this video, promised myself I was going to send some emails, promise myself, like just over and over again, you keep making these deposits and then keeping your promises to yourself, then you are more likely to earn the trust from others because you are modeling the trust that you want them to have in you as well. I would also say that so many coaches, we're very visionary. We see the big picture. We see what we want to have. We see where we want to be. And I would say, great, one process at a time. So with the First Five Club, I have people go through a sequence of steps to make sure that they are positioned to get their first or next 5 clients without all the baloney, without all of like the extras and all the playing into your insecurities. It's about an activation, and it's about focusing on the first thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. Your success is in your sequencing. When it comes to skill development, let yourself focus on the one skill that is going to make you the most revenue, and help you operate the most effectively, but just focus on one at a time. I think something that definitely slowed me down as a coach was this belief that I had to learn to be a master coach and learn how to master marketing and learn how to automate and learn how to delegate and learn how to sell and learn how to do content marketing and learn. And I felt like I had to develop all the skills all at the same time to the same level of excellence, and that is simply not true. You just don't have to do that. So I'm at a stage in a phase of my career where I'm really doubling down on like the content marketing aspect of things and being able to like develop more evergreen content that's reinforcing messages that have actually worked in the one-to-one space. So that's the leverage I'm developing right now. For most people that are starting their first 6 figures in a coaching business, the content marketing is actually something you probably can just be good enough at for a while. Because if you're present on social media, you'll remind the people who already know you that you're there, and then that's it. That's good enough. Help yourself by genuinely helping others. I think what makes people feel the most stuck and have the worst behavior in their life, whether it's like a lot of procrastination or a lot of distraction or whatever it is that's like getting in your way as you're building your business, it's because it's focused on the self. It's focused on how do you help you. And like, I'm having kind of a meta moment even as I'm doing this video. I'm helping you. Right? The getting to doing the video, like that took so much energy. I was like, I don't really want to do this. The second I turned the camera on it and I'm like talking to you and I'm realizing like, my goodness, what I would have given to hear this when I was at the stage of wanting to grow my business. My goodness, what would I have given? And like that activation, it brings your energy up, it brings your engagement up, it brings your follow through up, and you won't have a discipline problem or a consistency problem because you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for the person that you serve and that you help. I hope that's super helpful, but helping yourself by genuinely helping others. Now, I think one of the pitfalls when I give that advice is like to help others so that you're helping yourself is a coach immediately tends to have a lot of judgment for the people around them, right? It's like, oh my gosh, like that person, they don't have this system or process. They don't have this practice. They don't have this understanding. And then the coach can kind of get into like this superiority complex about like that they are very superior to all the people around them, and then they move into this savior syndrome. So savior syndrome it's not a real syndrome. It's not in the DSM. It's just a shorthand for describing how to make ourselves feel better we have to like rescue somebody else. And the thing is when somebody is in rescuer energy, they're not really in the place to be like whipping out a wallet and wanting to sign up for hourly, sessions or anything like that, or a package of sessions, because they're in extreme suffering, right? So what is genuine help? Genuine help is when you're solving a problem that the client has identified for themselves first. So you might see things along the way as a coach, and I'm not asking you to put on blinders. I'm not asking you to like ignore what you see. Like that's the opposite of what a coach should do. A coach should be taking in the full scene of what their client is facing. But so often coaches see a problem and they go, okay, well, if I just solved that problem for that person, then they would be better off. But the client's perspective is that there's this problem over here, a different problem that is taking all of their time, all of their attention, and they can't look away from it. And so as a coach, it's so tempting, and I've definitely run foul of this one as well. It's so tempting to like try to solve the problem over here because you know that that's the real root cause issue, or you feel that it's a bigger issue than the client does. But the thing is, the client is the buyer. The client is the one that is investing in coaching, and you may need to earn rapport and connection by solving problems they do believe they have first before you have permission to say, hey, what about this problem over here? Now that we've solved that problem that you cared about, would you like to focus on this other problem over here? And what I found is that it not only allows you to make more sales because you're solving problems people actually believe that they have, but it also helps with your lifetime value because your client is solving a sequence of problems, right? A string of problems, if you will. And you become part of a string of wins. And that's why somebody's going to want to stay with you, why they're going to want to recommend you, why you're going to be really successful as a coach ultimately is because you're part of the story with your client on the wins that they achieve, right? Now, a big confusion a lot of people get is like, okay, well, great, Amanda, I'm solving other people's problems. I'm being like, I'm genuinely helpful. Wonderful, wonderful. When do I get paid? And my general rule of thumb is that when it's personal, private attention, they pay for it. They're paying for the convenience of meeting at a scheduled time. They're paying for your focus, for your attention, that you are giving attention during that time with your expertise to solve their challenge. It should be paid, and it should be paid fairly. Right? I'm not here to recommend particular prices. That's for you to determine as the practitioner, and it's going to be based on a lot of different factors. Could be your experience, could be how you package things, could be who you're targeting, could be the problem that you particularly solve. Like there's so many things that go into the price. The point is that you should be paid and paid fairly for paying attention to someone, particularly when it is in private. If you're giving like general examples that could apply to anybody and it's more educational content that, let's be real, if they just really cared, they could probably go into ChatGPT and they could probably like find a good generalized answer. Well, then that should be your free content, right? Because the whole point is to show people that you can help them by genuinely helping them. That's the whole point of your content. Now, in another video, I'm going to talk about how do you use content marketing as a coach to increase your opportunities for more sales and more clients. If you loved this, then make sure that you send me a DM with the word club to join us in the First 5 Club. If you're sick and tired of buying like fancy masterminds and huge systems that are like crazy techy, and you're still looking to earn your first six figures as a coach, then the First Five Club could be perfect for you. Inside, we have a membership community where we've got curriculum that walks you through step by step exactly how my clients are getting clients without having to post like a maniac, without having to have advertising, without having to have a podcast, without having to have a YouTube channel, without having to do all of those things first. Because I really believe that the foundation of scaling is that you have foundationally have a really solid business. And if you are able to make sales from your network into your network and expand your network without all the fancy footwork, it saves you a tremendous amount of money in the long run because you have proven your message. You have proven that there's a problem of appropriate magnitude that people actually want to solve. So I take you through my whole First Five formula inside the club. Just DM me. The link is below this video. DM me with the word club and I will send you some information and you can check it out and decide if it is for you. Thank you so much for tuning in.